Imagine walking into a room full of strangers. Nobody knows your job. Nobody knows how much money you have. Nobody knows your achievements. And yet, within minutes, people start paying attention to one person. Not the loudest person. Not the most attractive person. Not even the most powerful person. Something about them pulls people in. People laugh at their jokes. Listen when they speak. Trust them more. Remember them longer. It's as if they possess an invisible force. A force we call charisma. But here's the mystery. Why does this happen? Why can one person walk into a room and become the center of gravity, while another person saying the exact same words fades into the background? And perhaps the strangest question of all. Is charisma something you're born with? Or is it one of humanity's oldest survival tools? To find the answer, we need to travel back long before offices, schools, social media, or even civilization itself. Because the roots of charisma may be hiding in one of the most dangerous environments humans ever lived in. Imagine a small band of hunter-gatherers 40,000 years ago. There are no governments, no police, no written laws, no permanent leaders. Every day is uncertain. Food can disappear. Predators can attack. A hunting trip can go wrong. One bad season can threaten the entire group. Now imagine a problem. Two hunters disagree about where to search for animals. One wants to head toward the river. The other insists on following tracks into the hills. If the group makes the wrong choice, people might go hungry. So who decides? Today we might vote, or follow a manager, or check data. Ancient humans had none of those options. They had something else. They followed people, and that created a fascinating evolutionary challenge. How do you convince dozens of individuals to trust your judgment? How do you persuade people to cooperate? How do you reduce conflict without violence? The answer wasn't brute strength alone. In fact, researchers believe that physically dominant individuals often struggle to maintain influence for long. Fear can force obedience. But fear doesn't create loyalty. And loyalty was essential for survival. The people who consistently influenced others weren't always the strongest. They were often the best communicators, the best storytellers, the best listeners, the people who could make others feel understood. In other words, the earliest forms of charisma may have emerged because groups needed individuals capable of holding communities together. Think about what happened around ancient campfires. Night falls. The hunt is over. People gather around the flames. And someone begins telling a story. Maybe it's about a dangerous animal encountered weeks earlier. Maybe it's about a distant valley filled with game. Maybe it's a warning disguised as a myth. At first glance, it seems like entertainment. But it wasn't. Stories were information. Stories taught survival. Stories built trust. The person who could hold everyone's attention wasn't just amusing the group. They were shaping how people thought. And here's the remarkable part. The same traits that make a compelling storyteller today may have helped humans survive thousands of generations ago. The ability to create emotion. The ability to capture attention. The ability to make people remember. Those skills had real evolutionary value. But here's where the mystery gets deeper. Most people assume charisma is mainly about speaking. Researchers increasingly suggest the opposite. A huge part of charisma comes from something far less obvious. Attention. Think about the most charismatic person you've ever met. There's a good chance they made you feel like the only person in the room. Not because they talked constantly, but because they seemed completely focused on you. The strange thing is that humans are incredibly sensitive to attention. Our brains are constantly asking questions. Do I matter? Am I accepted? Am I respected? For ancient humans, those questions weren't merely emotional. They were survival questions. Being rejected by your group could be catastrophic. Isolation often meant death. As a result, humans evolved to pay extraordinary attention to social signals. Eye contact, facial expressions, body language, tone of voice. Tiny details that reveal whether someone values us or ignores us. When a person makes us feel seen, our brains respond powerfully. Trust increases. Connection grows. Influence follows. And suddenly charisma begins to look less like magic and more like a sophisticated social technology. But here's another surprise. Many charismatic people aren't trying to dominate conversations. They're trying to understand them. This challenges one of the biggest myths about charisma. People often imagine charismatic individuals as extroverts who never stop talking. Yet some of the most influential figures in history were known for long pauses, careful listening, and measured words. Why? Because confidence and attention create a powerful combination. When someone speaks constantly, it can signal a need for approval. When someone speaks deliberately, it often signals security. And humans are remarkably good at detecting that difference. Thousands of years ago, confidence served as valuable information. If someone remained calm during uncertainty, others assumed they possessed knowledge, experience, or competence. That tendency still exists today. It's one reason confident people often appear more persuasive even before they've proven themselves. But confidence alone isn't enough. In fact, confidence without warmth can feel threatening. Warmth without confidence can feel weak. The truly charismatic individuals often combine both. They seem capable, and they seem trustworthy. That combination is incredibly rare, which is why it attracts attention. But perhaps the most unexpected discovery is that charisma changes depending on the environment. The charismatic traits admired in one culture may look completely different in another. Even within the same society, different situations reward different forms of charisma. A wartime leader, a comedian, a teacher, a scientist, a friend. Each may possess influence for entirely different reasons. This reveals something important. Charisma isn't a fixed personality trait. It's a relationship. It's not something you have. It's something that happens between people. And that realization changes everything. Because it means charisma isn't necessarily about becoming more impressive. It's about becoming more connected. When we look back at ancient humans, we begin to see the pattern. Groups survived because people cooperated. Cooperation depended on trust. Trust depended on communication. And communication depended on certain individuals who could unite attention, emotion, and belief. Those individuals became influential not because they were superhuman, but because they helped groups function as a single community. And maybe that's why charisma still fascinates us today. Even in a world of smartphones, skyscrapers, and artificial intelligence, our brains remain ancient. Part of us is still sitting beside that campfire. Still searching for people we can trust. Still looking for signs of confidence, warmth, competence, and belonging. Still deciding who deserves our attention. So the next time you meet someone charismatic, remember this. You're not witnessing a mysterious gift. You're witnessing millions of years of human evolution at work. A collection of social instincts refined across countless generations. An ancient survival mechanism hiding inside an ordinary conversation. And perhaps the most fascinating part is that charisma was never really about power. It was about connection. The ability to make another human feel understood. The ability to turn strangers into allies. The ability to remind people that they belong. And in a species that survived by sticking together, that may have been one of the most powerful abilities of all. If you enjoy exploring the mysteries of human history, evolution, psychology, and the hidden forces that shaped our species, subscribe and join us for the next journey. And let us know in the comments, what do you think makes someone truly charismatic?